I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this 287th episode of the Political Spotlight. We are dealing with a little bit of technical difficulty. Give me a second here. I'm trying to send something to our guest. That way we can make sure everything is smooth. Katherine, look in Facebook Messenger right now. Our Facebook Messenger. That's what you'll see if you look. That's what it looks like. Okay. All right. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Oh, my God. Toxic Crew Elite Force. Welcome to the program, brother. How are you doing? I hope you guys are doing well up there in wherever it is you are. Wisconsin, I believe that you're from. East Dakota or something like that. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. There's more of you in the comments than Toxic Crew Elite Force, the third junior. Welcome to K Mama and Leslie Cloud, Julie Johnson, Tweety Bird, the other Teresa, Sarge, Cindy, Stumblefoot, and all of you. Hey, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a crazy show. We are worked up here because we got a lot of crazy things to talk about. We have a Texas-based company attempting to interfere in Indiana elections. Now, don't freak out. We're not Milwaukee. All right, I knew it was somewhere around there. I knew it was someplace like that. Milwaukee. All right. Well, say hello to Laverne and Shirley for me. Anywho, we've got a Texas-based company. A company, not like illegals coming over the border, not like a crazy conspiracy theory or true conspiracy theory, election interference. Real live election interference, specifically in the second most important vote that Indiana citizens will cast, the gubernatorial race, the governor's election, the race for governor. We have a Texas-based company that is interfering with our election, and it should piss Hoosiers off to no end. And I'm going to tell you what you can do to try and push back. We've got a little bit of time. I'm going to tell you who the bad guys are. I'm going to tell you where they're at. I'm going to tell you how to get in contact with them and how you can push back and let them know that the Hoosiers don't play. Along with that, we are just at last minute's notice going to be welcoming back to the program someone you have not seen in a long time, Dr. Katherine Callahan. She's going to be on the program because ladies and gentlemen, what's called a switcheroo first here on the program. Now, we all know that I am very good at getting sources to reach out and to give me information, give me news, give me documents, and I've done very well for myself in East Central Indiana. And back before I knew Dr. Katherine Callahan, I actually had a series of sources in Madison County. Now, I completely cut off my ties to Madison County after realizing I was playing for the wrong team over there for a little bit. It was kind of crazy. And I just said, to hell with all that, and pulled out of there and thought, I'll let them burn themselves down to the ground. But then I started talking with Katherine and Rebecca and Larry and a couple of other folks from over there, Jamie and Sean and Lorraine and all of those people, and realized that there really are good people over there trying to fight back against the craziness. And so I started helping back out. Well, Katherine is like fairly new to this, but she's good at doing what she does. And you know, I would put her right up there with me as far as being able to get information and have people that reach out and tell her things. But in a first, ladies and gentlemen, I was able to come up with a document, a very crucial document, that is very pertinent to Madison County. And when I found this document, when this document got to me, I thought, holy crap, why? Surely Katherine's heard of this or seen this. And I sent it away and I said, hey, have you seen this? And she's like, what in the world? So we had to do a little bit of work to it. Now, we have not changed the document in any way. We've just kind of tweaked up the sharpness. It's going to be a little difficult for you to see. You will be able to get the gist of it. We will read this off to you. We'll talk about it. We're going to cover everything there, but we've got a lot, and it should piss people off even more, maybe so, than the election interference, because while election interference is pretty serious, what we're going to be talking about is interference with your First Amendment right. So we're going to be talking about all of this. Lusty Cloud. So we're going to be talking about all of that and more here on the 287th episode, which is called Gubernatorial Debate Nonsense and More 1A Hate from Madison County. Please do us a favor and do all of the YouTube things so we don't have to talk about them. That would be fantastic. Click through, do all of that nonsense. It would be fantastic. Also, while we're here at the beginning of the show, we might as well just get out of the way that if you're watching this live with us, welcome to Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. That means we are 260 days into a drought of communication between myself and Muncie City Councilor Dale Basham. Amazingly, his term has been 161 days. So basically the entirety of his term in office, he has refused to speak to yours truly. And we're going to continue counting this down until he either speaks to us or we boot him from office or he resigns, one or the other. And I have decided If he will not speak to me by the year mark, by 365 days, if he lets us get that long, there will be no turning back. I will just have to request his resignation every day from that point forward. Right now, I'm still willing to play with him, but we'll see. So that's that. Ejac was the first to hit like, but he should not be the last. While we are here and getting ready to bring on our guest, I will ask everyone to head over to the like button, smash that like button, and share the show, do all of that stuff. If you're watching via replay, comment down there. If you're watching live, you obviously know you comment over there. And we're interested in what you guys have to say. Let's bring on Katherine. Welcome. You're live. We can see you.
All right. I'm just trying to, everybody knows my tech ability is
You're acting like you've never done this before.
Well, I'm getting some crazy stuff right now on my phone. So that'll be a whole nother show. I'm sure it's coming.
Oh, I'm sure.
So what's the good word over there?
Well, not much. So here's the thing I think that we probably should do. Because I know that when we bring you on, it's probably going to be an ordeal. So since we have a lot of your people, I'm sure, from Madison County watching, briefly, I just want to get this word out about the first thing that I said. And I'm interested in your opinion on this as well, because I know while you still claim to be conservative Republican, you're not libertarian. I know that you like a lot of Rainwater's message, and I know that you'll be concerned about this. So we're going to talk about the Texas-based company first, and then we'll go into the Madison County deal. But it's just going to be, just bear with us a few moments. I just want to get Katherine's opinion on this. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you will recall, over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the Indiana gubernatorial race, okay? It's a big deal. It's a really big and important. I mean, it's the governor's race in the state of Indiana. You've got the presidential race, then you've got the governor's race. For Hoosiers, this is the second biggest vote that anyone will cast. And to hear that we've got a company based out of Texas that's interfering with this should really piss people off. And so I want to make sure that people have the full story here, and they get everything that they need surrounding this, and we're able to let them know what they need to do. So, Katherine, I'm sure you've heard me say over the last couple of weeks that we have a couple of debates coming up here in the month of October. We've got a debate scheduled for Wednesday the 2nd. We've got a debate scheduled for Thursday the 3rd. And then we have a debate scheduled for the 24th. I don't know what date the 24th is on, but whatever day of the week it is. We've got a debate scheduled for the 2nd, 3rd, and 24th of October. Now, those debates will include the candidates. There are more than one. So candidates for governor. So it will include the Republican candidate, the Democrat candidate, and the Libertarian candidate, as it should. I don't care if there are 2 candidates or there are 10 candidates. If you're on the ballot and Hoosiers are going to have a choice of picking between you, you should be in the debate, period. Okay? Well, the debate that's being ran by the Indiana Debate Commission is doing just that. That debate will be ran on October 24th, and it will have Mike Braun, Republican, Jennifer McCormick, Democrat, and Donald Rainwater, Libertarian. No harm, no foul. We will get to hear from all 3 candidates. The debate being ran on the 3rd, Thursday, the 3rd of October, is being ran by Wish TV Channel 8 out of Indianapolis, Wish TV Channel 8. And it's being ran as it should. All three candidates will appear on that debate stage. However, the very first, and because it's the first, a lot of people might say it's the most important. I don't know. I think they all are important, but you got people who will just watch the first or who watch the last, whatever, So the first debate of them all, which is being hosted by Fox59 and CBS4 Indy, which are two news stations out of Indianapolis. Their parent company is called Nexstar Media Group, and they are not based here in Indiana. They are a media conglomerate corporation, and they are based out of Texas. They are only going to allow the Republican and the Democrat on the stage. And that's not right. Basically, what they've done all year long is they have had requirements. Now, in my opinion, the requirement should be, are you a candidate appearing on the ballot? If so, boom, bang, pow, you're on the debate. No issue. Well, they came out and they put two requirements up. Okay? They put two requirements up. They said, number one, all candidates needed to raise during a portion of time $100,000 during a portion of time that they put forward, and they needed to be polling at 10% or higher. Well, all three candidates originally met that requirement. No issue. However, the Rainwater team, from the point that the deadline was there that they needed to say what happened, could not get a hold of Nexstar. I talked to him weeks ago, and he's like, we cannot get them to get back in touch with us. And I knew then something fishy was going on. Well, at some point in the last 2 to 3 weeks, they have reached out to the Rainwater team, and they said, we now need him to poll 10% in a poll that is ran, sometime in the next couple of weeks. And they were like, wait, you're moving the goalpost on us. Like, we've already jumped through the hoops. The hoops in this case are bullshit, but we've done them, and you're now changing it. Well, it was if a poll, they needed to poll 10% or higher if a poll was conducted in that time period. Well, the time period in which they wanted, there were no polls conducted. So Nexstar said, okay, we will take it upon ourselves and we will poll this. Well, I didn't like that as soon as I heard that. Well, I don't care how credible their polling company is, whatever, when they said that they were going to be running it themselves because they were the ones that were changing this all along. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today they came out and they announced that per their poll, Braun is obviously leading in the governor's race. And with less than 50 days until the election, the new Emerson College polling, the Hill survey for the state of Indiana, finds that the leading candidate is Braun at 45.3%. The second place is the Democrat Jennifer McCormick at 34.3. Okay, so keep in mind, if you're doing the math at home, Braun has 45.3%. McCormick has 34.3%. So that's 79.6. They then come out and say that Rainwater unfortunately doesn't meet the requirement because he's polling at a low 5.8%. Well, wait a minute. When you add 34.3, 45.3, and 5.8 together, you only come up with 85.4% of 100%. So what's going on there? When you take 80, when you look at that and you take that and you look at what's happening, that means there's 13.3 of the population that's undecided. So Nexstar, in their infinite wisdom, has decided that with 13.3% of their polling data, of their polling population being undecided, they don't need to hear from all three candidates. So they, ladies and gentlemen, all the people that want to get up in arms about voting interference and ballot interference and cheating, this is blatant. This is right up here up front. They are going to mute one of the candidates. And so my question is, what do you think about that?
So let's back up here just a minute. This North Star that you speak of.
Nexstar.
Is this like a journalist or what is this?
Nexstar, it's a media conglomerate group. And
so it's media.
Yep.
Okay. So it's news.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is what I am just so unclear of. This is the people's First Amendment rights.
Yeah.
This is a company who makes their money off of people. And I don't understand why they would censor from the people to know. But I find that common sense is not very common.
That's absolutely true.
I mean, I got 6 of them sitting on a council board right now. Yeah, I got 3 on a commissioners, and common sense just is not very common.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely. Listen to our mission, Nexstar's mission, to create, produce, and to create. I don't want my news companies to create anything.
Well, see, that's where you don't understand. The whole world's going to programming to program the people. So here's my thing. I don't understand why only the rich can be politicians.
Yep.
I don't understand, if there's no problem, why can't you debate anybody? If you're a true servant to the community, whoever wants to speak, let them speak.
Yep.
But this just proves that there is, certainly a problem with this Nexstar, whatever they call themselves. And clearly they probably hold about as much weight as the Herald Bulletin was with me, because I don't even know who these people are.
Yeah, right. And that's the main thing is these people are
Ooh, you know what I would do?
Nobody.
Let me tell you what I do. If I were Rainwater, I would take the debate, and by the next morning, I would have chopped it up. And when they get to give their both answers, I would then give my answer, and I would make it a 3-way debate.
Make it a 3. Yeah.
They just can't rebuttal with me because they didn't invite me to the floor.
Absolutely.
So that's what I would do.
Well, so here's the thing. The deal is he's going to be able to be heard by Hoosiers in 2 of 3 debates, which is good. But
what
there
about those
will be
people
Hoosiers
who didn't hear the other 2?
Right.
I mean, this is the one they see. No, it's not fair. I mean, that's the whole thing. The whole thing is every one of these people, I don't know what their degrees are, but clearly every one of them needs to resign, because they should be advocating that people have the right to be heard. This is the Chief Diversity Officer, VP of Human Resources, Courtney Williams. Okay, well, we're diversifying your panel with a Republican, a Libertarian, and a Democrat. Where are you at? Why aren't you, fighting for this? Why aren't you saying this is not right? This isn't fair. We've got Charles Posh, whatever his name is. He looks like a peach, but relations and associate counsel for labor and employment. I mean, come on, where are your equal rights here, people? I mean, I'm looking at these people thinking to myself, what are you doing?
Right. Well, like half of those words, normal people don't even know. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. Well, I want to let you know that the citizens of Indiana, they don't have to take this lying down, because it's Rainwater's getting screwed over, but it's us, it's the voters that are being screwed over.
They're truly suffering. Yes.
It's we that are suffering, because look, I know who's going to do it. I researched. There could be no TV. I could not watch any of this. And I know these candidates better than they know themselves. That being said, these people need to be on there. And so, just so you know, you can reach out to CBS. Now, I want to be very clear, because to me, Wish TV is CBS, but they've done some changing. So Wish TV is just Wish TV channel 8, but I don't think they are on 8. I don't really know. Wish TV is Wish TV. Okay. CBS4 in Indy is the channel, and Fox59. There is a gentleman at that place, at both places, called, right there it is, CJ Hoyt. CJ Hoyt. You can see he's on Facebook. And on Facebook, he's got a cool looking dog. It says he is the news director at Fox 59 and CBS4. You can reach out to Fox 59 and to CBS4, and you can let CJ Holt know that you are not happy with this, and that you demand that you demand that they allow all 3 candidates on the ballot. Now, CJ Hoyt is the news director there. So it's not like you're not going to be able to find his information, or you're not going to be able to get a hold of him. Like his email address is not just posted out there, so you're not going to be able to email him directly. But you can contact CBS4, you can contact Fox 59, and reach out to them. You can they have social media accounts, and let them know that you're pissed off about this, that they should allow all 3 candidates to be heard. Let them know that you will not watch them. You will not watch their debate. You will not participate with their media group, that you're not going to be a part of this. It's absolute nonsense. And I'm going to do one more. I have contacted both the campaigns of Braun and McCormick, and I have told them that if they have any morals, or if they have any scruples at all, that they will demand that Rainwater be permitted to debate. I've reached out to their running mates, to Terry Gooden and to Micah Beckwith, and I have demanded that they demand that all 3 candidates be able to debate. I've reached out to the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, and I've done the same thing. And really, what's really interesting to me is Micah Beckwith, back in March of this year, he had to do the same thing. I was looking and Googling different things earlier, and I found a post of his from March of 2024 where Micah Beckwith had posted that he wanted people to contact CJ Holt and demand that he be able to be on a debate that they were holding, because they weren't going to allow him to be part of the debate. And I think it was wrong when what they did with Beckwith. And I think that it's wrong with what they're doing now. I fully believe that I hope that Micah will do the right thing. If Micah felt that they were in the wrong back then, he should absolutely feel like they were in the wrong now. And it should be very, very simple for him to put the same amount of effort into this.
You know what I've found?
Yeah.
I've found this to be is that once people get to the other side, Micah Beckwith, and maybe Micah will prove us wrong. I don't know. He deserves the chance. I guess this is one of the first chances that Micah is going to have to do that. If Micah was a smart man, he would absolutely advocate for this, because the chances of him being told no are probably pretty high. But he still looks like the shining star. So
sure,
if I were him, I would be doing that. But
sure.
the perfect example, and this is not about me, this certainly is about Rainwater. And of course, at the end of the day, I was a very big supporter of Jody Norris, huge
Yes.
supporter of Jody Norris.
Yep.
At one time, I was a big supporter of Mikhail Vaughn, right?
Yep.
Those two people professed that they were for the people and that they truly would be the people's voice, that they would be servants to the people. And I think that it was very clear on Tuesday night that neither one of them was there to serve the people.
Absolutely.
Neither one of them. Neither, Mikhail, he couldn't trip over himself fast enough to say House Bill 1338. He didn't even know what he was talking about with House Bill 1338. Yeah, right. I mean, that's Mikhail. Mikhail speaks and doesn't have a clue to what he's talking about. Jody, I mean, I consider her a dear friend, but she had the moment to sit there and, okay, fine. You don't want to defend me. You don't want to say, let Katherine speak. Well, she should have cleared the record. She should have said, Tom Eckert, that's a false statement.
Yeah.
You certainly have, been sued. And why would you lie to the people like that?
I disagree. I get what you're saying, and I agree. Yeah. I agree. We've had in Delaware County where they've tried to shut it up before, and elected officials have stood up and said, "No, I want to hear what they've got to say." I mean, she could have done that. Even if I disagree with you.
The biggest problem is that everyone on that council needs to go to jail. Every one of them. And when I say this is because they have allowed for the last couple of years for money to be to bills to be made.
Yeah.
The people did not have the money to pay for that. So the money has not been appropriated, and they gave them the money to cover up the crime.
It's a weird form of, in my opinion, it should be a weird, it's like a weird version of theft. And
it is.
And I wish that we had someone that would push something like that hardcore forward. And they definitely deserve the ire of the public. They deserve to be ridiculed. There's nothing that says an elected official shouldn't be ridiculed, shouldn't be called on the carpet. That's the basis of the First Amendment. They should be thrown out of office. They should be investigated, and whatever part they played in any kind of criminal action, they should be charged, and they should face what's coming to them. Just like if you or I did something.
The reason why there should be charges against the council, the council is fully aware of what Indiana code says about spending money that's not appropriated. And how I know, I have shared the letter that states they were going to come after myself and Dr. Abbott in the coroner's office because they said we had spent money which we didn't have appropriated with. What chapped them is the fact that what they were trying to get us on, by state law, I can have as much money as I need to do autopsies. I'm not going to sit here and stack up bodies for 45 days and then go get money to say, can I do an autopsy? You know how much loved ones would be real happy with our county? Not very much.
Oh, yeah. So no.
You can't say that you don't know it because your own attorney wrote the letter about me.
Yeah.
And to us that you can't do that. Well, here, month after month, you see the prosecutor's office do it. You see the commissioners do it. And they don't say a word. So to me, Ben Gale is funneling money. There's no budget in Madison County. This is just a pretty sheet of paper that says, hey, we dotted our I's and we've crossed our T's and we've met the deadlines, but we really don't have a budget because starting in January, you people are going to come in and get what you want. Last year in 2023, they cut Linda Smith's budget. At that budget meeting, Linda says, well, I need that because we're going to have a presidential election. And they said, yeah, we know. And she goes, so I can come back and get the money, even though you're going to cut it if I'm short. Well, absolutely. So she already knew in 23 she was going to spend the money. They cut the budget. Then she comes back and asks for money. That's not how you do a budget. What you say to her is,
insane.
What money you get, you need to figure that out. So, I mean, back to Rainwater. I mean, that's a long story, but back to Rainwater. It's a shame that we can't just let the people speak. Let the people speak. What's it matter?
He's jumped through the crazy hoops it's taken to be a candidate, which basically they say, it's legal. It's a legal definition of what it takes to be a candidate. He has fit that requirement. He's not like a crazed person out there doing crazy things. He's a legitimate person. They have allowed him to be a candidate. I just don't understand or know who this company is in Texas that gets to say, well, we don't think that he should be permitted to be on the debate stage. He's not good enough or important enough to appear on our stage. Now, I want to put this out there. We're getting ready to move. I see Kate has put CJ Hoyt's Nexstar. That's good. That Nexstar TV out there. That's good. Email the hell out of that. I'm also going to put up on the screen, because I don't want this to get lost down in Texas, just in case that's what they do. Here is the contact place for Fox 59. You can email Fox 59 at fox59news@fox59.com. Email them. You can email them while you're watching this. You can call them at 317-632-5900. Be polite. Don't be rude. Do your best. Conduct yourselves accordingly. You know how we do it here. If you want to write them a snail mail at 6910 Network Place, Indianapolis. But I don't want them to have all of the fun, because they're not the only ones. Here's the contact for CBS4, which is a WTTV TV, also at 6910 Network Place. So that makes it smooth. And then you can also call them at the same number, essentially, 317-239-5900. News 4, the number 4, at CBS4 Indy, INDY.com. And I would be emailing these people. Email them once a day. Email them once a day until the 2nd. You know, all they got to do is, with the stroke of a pen, say, okay, he's permitted. These people want to hear from them. That's what we need to do, folks. And people are going to be like, nah, I'm not going to do it. Somebody else will do it. No, listen, it's going to count on you. We need you to do it. And you could say, I'm voting for Braun. That's fine. Vote for Braun. Do this. Ask them to do the right thing. Ask Braun to do the right thing. Ask McCormick to do the right thing. If you're so certain of Braun's victory, then it doesn't matter. He ought to be able to stack 10 bodies on the stage and be able to blow through them all. Same with McCormick. All right? That's Don's like, yeah, I want to debate him. Don's like, I've got questions I want to ask them. I want to ask them questions on the stage. And Don does that. We've seen that. Watch what he does on the second and third debate. Watch what he does. And we will see a man that should be on the first debate stage. So I hope we can make that happen. And I think that we can. All we got to do is we got to come together, and we got to be willing to we've got to be willing to push this out there and bitch about it. You know, you got to care about what's going on, and you got to have an active role. You got to take agency in what's happening. Okay, well, on from that to Madison County, on from the gubernatorial debate to more 1A hate from Madison County. Oops, I think Are you paused, Catherine? You're
No,
just
I'm
holding
not.
very steady.
I'm actually wanting to send you a picture of something, and I just want to show what liars this council truly is. For some of you who did not watch the thing from last night, and or from last Tuesday, when Tom Eckert got up there and said the commissioners have never been sued. I just sent you a picture on your in Messenger.
Oh yeah.
And our very own Anthony Emery, where's
Yeah.
that? He states in that he states in there, it's like, I don't know, fourth sentence from the bottom of it, if you can put that up.
I'm getting ready to right now.
So Tom Eckert lies to the people of why he needs the money. He tells
What
the
is
people,
this from? Is this
from 2020. This is when
Okay.
Emery was the president of the council or vice president or whatever he was. I don't know. They just move back and forth, yank each other's chains. I don't know. But it's from 2020. It's a Herald Bulletin article. And Eckert literally says the commissioners have never been sued. Now, everybody on that council is fully aware that that's not true. Right here, Anthony Emery says we could face an additional lawsuit.
What's additional mean?
Right? So this means that the commissioners have been sued before.
Certainly. I'm
right?
going to put it up here here.
Just above that, it talks about the Likens who sued the commissioners.
Local resident Likens and SIPE last year sought a preliminary and permanent injunction, which, let me tell you folks, you cannot seek a preliminary and a permanent injunction anywhere else except in a court. And the only way you can do that is by bringing suit against someone. So listen to this. Likens, SIPE, and SIPE last year sought a preliminary and permanent injunction against the new maps approved by the Madison County commissioners. These are outstanding bills, Councilman Anthony Emery said. We could face an additional lawsuit for not paying the bills. Hewer, who was on the council back then, called the approximately $300,000 the county has spent in legal costs ridiculous. We have got to get a handle on it, he said.
So, and not even, and that's the thing, when I was getting back up there, I was just going to prove that these guys were liars. I mean, it even goes on here and it talks about how Hamilton County said that Likens had to pay that money back down here towards the bottom, that paragraph right there.
Yep.
And they voted, that's why Darlene ran for commissioner in 2020, was to get back on there, to get with Richwine so that they wouldn't have, that her family son would not have to pay that back. And she voted on her son's.
She voted, yeah.
To make sure he didn't have, so the taxpayers paid that.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Not one elected official that was sitting on that council could correct Mr. Eckert. Maybe if that council would have done their job, I would have never even been in the middle of it to try to correct it.
So I want to ask you a question, and this is very important because I feel like a lot of people on here have watched last Tuesday's show and then watched the little short thing that I put out, 22 minutes. If you've not watched that, go back and watch it. You can find it on this very program here, the Political Spotlight. You can go see it. It's last time Katherine was on. It's very, very simple to go find that. And so in that, when you were speaking, were you speaking while they were taking actions for like the jail, or were you speaking while they were voting on issues for the county highway department?
There was nothing on the table. This was
okay. There was nothing on the
table.
So there was no business being dealt with, right?
Correct.
Oh, you just said the key words. This was during public comment.
And it was on new money.
Okay, open public comment on new money. And for people that might not be familiar with council meetings, when generally is the public comment portion of a meeting? Is it in the middle of a meeting? Is it at the beginning?
So it used
is it
to
at
be
the end?
At the beginning in Madison County.
Mm-hmm.
And I will give it to Jody Norick and Bethany Keller, who said this is absolutely absurd. How can somebody come up here and make open comment without even hearing the content? And so they were able to get that moved. But then Ben Gale and his swamp decided that we could only comment on public or new money requests. That's the only time. Now I'm being told tonight that they are thinking about closing off even public comment on new money, and they have the right to do that.
Well, while they may have the right to to stop public comment during a standard meeting on new money. They, beyond all shadow of a doubt, have to have a public hearing before the vote.
They said that's all they have to do is allow a public hearing, but they do not have to hear from the people.
That is false. So we're talking about two different things. During a standard, because a council meeting is not a public hearing. So for example, during the, like, if they're going to have a new money appropriation, then they're going to have that on the agenda for the council meeting. They could stop comment during that council meeting, but for a period in time, either before the meeting or during the meeting, they have to, if it's before the meeting, they can open up the meeting, say, we're having a public hearing, and this is it. They allow for that, then they close it, then they go into the regular meeting. Or they could open the regular meeting, recess the regular meeting, go into a public hearing, offer that, close the public hearing, and then come back into the council meeting. But by law, they have to give public comment during the public hearing on new money. They might not have to do it during the council meeting, and I agree with that, and that's ridiculous, but I do agree. They have to at least, and that will be a major issue if they don't. Now, that doesn't mean they have to answer. A public hearing is different than the council meeting. That's when they allow people to speak, and they just don't do anything. Now, they never answer, but that's, I mean, so somebody is alleging, or they are alleging, that they are just going to not allow anyone to speak anytime ever.
That's what they're starting to move. Now, here's the thing. Lapel did that. So you remember after my lawsuit in Lapel on the LKQ, that's exactly what they came back with in their rule book, that public was not allowed to comment anymore in their meetings. Now, since I haven't been going, I think they've allowed some comment because nobody's been putting it on FaceTime. But that's, I mean, that's the whole thing is that I just don't understand. I have yet to be corrected on what I've ever said at the podium. I don't come, just shoot off and just go half-cocked.
Have you ever got up? I want to ask you a couple of these questions. Have you ever got up and threatened anybody?
I've never gotten up. I've never gotten up and threatened anybody.
Have you ever gotten up and cursed at anybody?
I have never gotten up and cursed at anybody at these meetings.
Okay. Have you ever gotten up and talked while I fully believe you have a First Amendment right to say whatever you want. You know, I get why they would be like, well, have you ever gotten up during a meeting where they've been talking about the funds of Madison County and been talking about how much you love Trump and Biden sucks, or vice versa? Have you ever gotten up and talked off course even?
No.
Okay. So
everything that I talk about relates directly to the meeting,
to the matter at hand.
It does. I mean, that's my whole thing, is everything is at the matter of hand. You know, here's a video. I'm going to send this to you. Okay. And I want this to be, I don't know if you can, this is courtesy of Madison County Government Accountability that I'm sharing this with. Okay. And so I don't want to take credit for something I did not do myself.
Where are you sending it to me? In Messenger?
I'm going to send that to you on Messenger. It's maybe 23 seconds.
Yeah, that's no big deal.
So if you heard me speak before everybody got upset, I clearly said this is the most expensive commissioner's office yet to date, the way they're spending. This is Ben Gale, the way he speaks to me. Did I lose my mind at the podium? No, but watch the way, because I've even had people call me today and said, if you were my wife and that man,
I'm telling you,
the way he did, I would have come to that podium.
I'm telling you, you and I are not in any type of romantic relationship, whatever. We're friends. We're just two people out here, two idiots out here fighting all this corruption. I will tell you, it fired me up to listen to him talk to you that way. So to me, anytime I hear an elected official speak to any citizen this way, it fires me up. But I will agree, there is something inside of me that definitely, hearing him, the aggression with which he beat the gavel is what pissed me off. Because to me, that is as a former law enforcement officer, I look at that as a form of aggression aimed at you. I'll put it to you this way. We used to tell people all the time.
It was a threat.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a threat. Banging the gavel that way was a threat.
Yes. Yeah. I used to tell people all the time that the code for battery in the state of Indiana is touching somebody in a rude or insolent manner. And while it doesn't make sense, I could technically commit battery on you if you and I were fighting and I'm yelling at you and I throw a pin down on the desk and the pin leaves my hand, hits the desk, bounces up and hits you. Technically, that's a stretch, but I could be arrested for battery. I think what he did there in beating that gavel at you the way that he does is absolutely a form of aggression. It is a threatening manner. We're going to play as soon as the ball stops.
You didn't know me back when I was the chief deputy coroner. He was even worse. He used to hit that
remember
so hard
watching some of that.
The pad would fly up when he was hitting it.
I remember that. I remember watching some of that. It was crazy. I remember before knowing you when that would happen. All right, here, let me make sure we got sound. Here we go. Here this is.
So we're not even there. All I will say is that the predecessor had no problem living within their budget, and they came and asked when there was going to be additional. And at this point, each of your 2 years now, you are by far the most expensive coroner that this county has ever seen. And you just keep asking for more and more and more. And when the council approved 90 so not even there. All I will say is that the predecessor had no problem living within their budget, and they came and asked when there was going to be additional. And at this point, each of your 2 years now, you are by far the most expensive coroner that this county has ever seen. And you just keep asking for more and more and more. And when the council approved 90
it's like he has some kind of major dislike for you.
And he talks to me like I'm a child.
I was going to say a dog, but yeah.
Well,
maybe a puppy.
Yeah, I can only imagine how he talks to his own children and his
gross.
wife.
Gross.
If you talk that way in public, believe me, you are something else.
No, listen, I'm just going to say this and just be perfectly honest, because this is the way I feel. It's the way it makes me feel. I mean, no harm to Mr. Gale or anyone else. I plan to attend these meetings and fight them within the legal bounds, constitutionally, political theater, all of that. I mean no one any harm. I will never hurt any of these people, never wish them anything. But he absolutely talks to women like he's never been punched in the mouth. And
that's why Gardner
really
does.
Feel, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all these guys are the same. And, you've got a state trooper up there.
Yeah, it's so weird.
He can't stand up and do the right thing. I'm watching all these people that, how is this even? But, I will tell you, I have a brother, and never in a million years would my brother speak to a woman the way these men speak.
Dude, right. It's nuts.
Granted, my mother has raised children correctly, and their behavior is a true reflection of how their fathers must have treated their wives.
Yes, yeah.
So I just sent you another article from 2020, and this is the last one that we'll go back to, but I want people to understand when I'm up at that podium, it's not because I'm up at the podium shooting from the hip. But look at this news article, but from the Herald Bulletin. And now the Herald Bulletin never reports on the commissioner's overspending. Never.
Yeah, it's really interesting. If you listen to what he was saying to them, for you citizens in Madison County, I'm not from Madison County. I'm just an outside observer, but it's interesting to me. And I remember all of this stuff back before Katherine. I paid attention in 2019, 2020 is when I was involved on the other side of this. And I remember things that were going on, and it was this kind of stuff that just didn't make sense to me. But it's interesting that you hear these people questioning about Katherine spending money and all of this happening. But now, man, I've never heard these people question. I have never heard these people question the expenditure of money ever. Now, I know this is hard for you guys to read this, but I will read it to you here. It's Herald Bulletin, non-binding opinion of the Indiana State Board of Accounts indicates the Madison County Commissioners exceeded their authority in procuring debt for legal services. Debbie Gibson, director of the audit services for the state agency, in an email to Madison County officials, said there was an appropriation provided to pay for the county attorney, but the costs incurred were above the amount appropriated by the Madison County Council. The council and commissioners have been at odds over attorney's fees for the past few months. In June, the council denied a request by the commissioners for appropriately $172,000 to pay legal fees. It did approve $155,000 last week. For the 2020 budget, the county council appropriated $150,000 for legal fees and $80,000 for professional services. Thus far, the county has spent approximately $300,000 with Indianapolis law firm Bose, McKinney & Evans, the law firm that represents every corrupt government possible. It's amazing. Gibson wrote that the word fix is in state statute in setting the compensation, but not the appropriation of the funds. The Indiana State Board of Accounts position is that the funds have been appropriated before the commissioners could enter into the contract. It is our position that while monitoring the payments being made to their attorneys under the attorney contracts, the commissioners should consider whether they need to seek emergency appropriations, Gibson wrote. She said the contract can be canceled if the funds are not appropriated. Having provided our positions and information, it must be said that is always critical to any unit of government that all officials work in concert together through their statutory authorities to formulate appropriate strategies to operate effectively and efficiently while providing those services and expectations of the citizens they represent. She wrote, Madison County Auditor Rick Gardner requested the state's opinion after receiving a letter from Bose, McKinney & Evans to pay $171,000 that was past due. The letter said the commissioners set the salary. Gardner said the council doesn't. You have to pay. There has to be a check and balance, he said. Councilman Steve Sumner, while he was collecting kiddie porn, said it's been evident for some time that the commissioners have been spending money on legal costs. Legal costs without appropriations of funds by the council.
So they know.
Yeah.
They know that you cannot do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no question. So I sent you the letter that the attorney had sent to the coroner and I regarding the fact that we could not continue to spend because we didn't have the money. Now, this is Ted Knowlton who sat there and wanted me ejected from this meeting. Ted, I think you better go figure out how you're going to.
Well, summons. And I want to tell.
Now, this is a response to the letter that was sent to us. So right before that, there's a letter.
Oh, it's right before this one. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Hold on.
So that was the response from our attorney back to them.
I want to let everybody know we're going through this. Don't go anywhere because here in just one moment, here in a minute, I'm going to show you some documents that are mind-blowing and should have everybody up in arms. And we will get there.
Yeah, we're just trying to show you that I have documents of why I was saying what I was saying.
But yeah, lay a little bit of foundation here. This is definitely right.
This is Ted Knowlton.
Again, hard to see, but this is the attorney, and you're saying in this letter he's doing what?
In this letter, he says, as you may be aware, Indiana Code 36-2-6-12 provides that a county officer who enters into an agreement of any type that would require the county to exceed its appropriation for a particular purpose commits a Class B misdemeanor and is liable on that officer's bond. Any such agreement on purchase entered into is void. On August 4th, the council adopted a resolution 2020-8A, a copy of which I've included. Pursuant to the resolution, the council adopted a policy to deny all requests for additional appropriations where an officer has violated the statutory process.
Yep.
And to pursue all charges against the violating official. That's the gist of this, right?
Yep.
So we rebuttal to this, and that's the next picture.
Okay.
We rebuttal, and our attorney says, we under Indiana Code 36-2-14-6 are required to do death investigations, and whatever that comes to, they got to pay it.
Yeah. There's no.
Right?
Yeah.
So we go on to ask that the attorney goes on to ask them as a follow-up on November 9th at the council meeting, the Madison County Commissioners admitted to spending money to the sum of $73,000 prior to appropriation. Again, this would be under Richwine's reign and Likens' reign and Pratt.
Yep.
We haven't seen a letter for Nolting stating that they shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
So this favoritism, this double standard, I don't know what you want to call it, but just so everybody is very clear, Kristopher, I'm going to send you these two pieces of documents. So this one is the actual, I guess they call it what, a resolution or an ordinance? I don't know. It's a resolution. And on that resolution, they themselves, a couple that still sit on the council, signed it.
Yeah.
Okay. Right there, the yellow part. What does that say?
Whereas pursuant to Indiana Code 36-2-6-12, any county official that enters into such an agreement that would require the county to exceed its budget for any particular purpose commits it's kind of like my lawsuit with Sproles. It's you just need to do it once. This is for anything.
Yes.
Commits a Class B misdemeanor, which folks is a jailable offense. I don't know many people that would arrest them and lock them up for this. You normally get an arrest and release, a citation to appear in court, but you could be arrested for this. It is a misdemeanor in the state of Indiana.
So if you flip the page to the next picture I gave you, look who's on here. Rick Gardner. He's in attendance for the meeting that I was just thrown out of. That's his name on there. Yep. Let's see. Ben Gale.
Yeah. Here's Gardner. Here's Gardner. Here's Gale.
He's on there. So three people in that room who signed this didn't speak up and say, wait a minute here. We can't give you that money because you've committed a Class B misdemeanor.
Furthermore, let's just say for the sake of argument that every single name on here was new. It doesn't matter what these people did. If the new council hasn't undid, they still have to follow it. So even if they're new, ignorance is no excuse. They still have to follow the same thing. And I think therein lies why you were trying to get up and explain to them what you were trying to explain.
Yes. And so for that's why Ben Gale is so angry with me.
Yes.
That's why the council's so angry for me. They don't want the truth to be spoken. So now this was just published in the paper for Saturday. This is Ken Delabastide's worst article yet. Okay. This is within itself. I will send you the rest of it, but he won't even mention our names. And he's buried it. But you know what? He too wants to get into, let me lecture the people. Let me tell you guys how you should behave in public meetings. Now, granted, you're a journalist. You thrive on the First Amendment. And
He's
yet
not a
you
journalist.
don't even have, and I'm going to say it, the cojones enough to get up there and defend the people.
Yeah. No.
And then you protect the council and say that the public needs to have civility. Well, what about the civility of those elected officials? As a matter of fact, what about the civility of the journalist? A journalist who sits there and doesn't say anything is complicit. They are part of the problem, a major part of the problem. He needs to resign. It's pathetic how he wrote this article.
Yeah.
He's your senior reporter?
Listen,
I can't imagine what you're doing to mentor the younger ones.
Listen, he is state issued, he is state sponsored media. And when folks, do you understand what I'm saying? That's like what they have in China. So I don't mean the state of Indiana. I mean the government. He is government sanctioned media. He is writing cover pieces for Madison County. This is why people are like, well, I don't understand why newspaper dies. It's because they get reporters that don't have the balls to write what they need to do. They don't have. I'm not a journalist, but I'm going to tell you factually what happened, and I'm going to give you my opinion. But I tell you up front, that's not what he is. He is supposed to be a journalist, a just the facts man. If he wants to give his opinion, he needs to retire and create a podcast. Retire and create a blog. Go to the meetings and chastise Katherine all you want.
Well,
she's a politico. She's not just a citizen.
This is what horrible businessmen Scott Underwood and the paper are. Do you know how many papers they would sell if they would report the truth that's going on?
They would
this could have been front page news, right?
Yep.
But I will tell you this. The reason why Ken did not put my name in this article is because enough people know me by now that Katherine speaks the truth.
Yeah.
And people would have been so irritated if they would have seen my name. You know how many patients? I serve over 9,000 patients. They come in and they go, yeah, that's not our Katherine. Because that's full of lies. So here, why didn't he tell the people? Katherine got thrown out for telling the truth, but Tom Eckert got to return to the podium to spew lies and get money for money he shouldn't have spent. Why does he tell the public what happened? Shame on the council. But all he can say is, well, no one from the council spoke up. Well, no one from the prosecutor's office spoke up, and they too know that it's illegal to do this. But you know why they don't? Because they do the same exact stuff.
Well, no one from the prosecutor's office spoke up at the meeting, at least.
Right?
I think they're now trying to wade their little toes into this argument, and
so that leads us to wherever you're going, and from here, I'll let the people decide. What they think of this whole mess now.
Yeah, folks,
Cindy Poncha should love this one.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if Alva's on here. I don't know where Stumblefoot is at.
They're all here.
They're gonna love this.
Yeah. And listen to me. This is the moment right now, folks, where if you know someone from Madison County that's not watching, share it, send it, because this should really piss the people of Madison County off. So the other day, we had the big debate between Katherine and I on whether Beeman was involved or whatever. That still rages on. Continue watching, continue commenting. That's great. We're still friends. It is what it is. Ideas abound. That's perfect. It's whatever it is. It is what it is. One of the groups of people that we talked about a little bit, Katherine did bring them up, was the fact that there were members of the Madison County Prosecutor's Office in attendance. Now, I talk frequently about being a former law enforcement officer and being a police officer. What some people know or some people don't know is I also spent time working in a county prosecutor's office, the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office. And I am very familiar with how prosecutors, deputy prosecutors, how they choose or should choose to conduct themselves, and what they do and don't do, and what they like to do and don't like to do. And one thing that I tell you, a prosecutor, deputy prosecutor, is never supposed to make themselves part of the investigation. They're never supposed to become a witness in their own case or in a case period. And so they're supposed to kind of walk very softly. Okay. So it's weird really to get them to rule on things that don't really pertain in their wheelhouse.
And I'm just going to preface this
Mm-hmm.
that I've only skimmed what you've shared with me. I have not read it in its entirety. I think you have. I have not. So I'm learning about the little details like you guys are right now. So I just want everybody to know that.
Well, and I will be honest, I too, because of how this was sent to me, and then in sending it out, it is hard to view. We've done our best. Kate really helped to pinch this up, so you'll be able to see the document. Here's the deal.
I became so furious over it, I couldn't continue reading it.
Right.
I'm not going to lie.
Right. So we're going to look at this. We can read it. Mostly there will be parts we kind of stumble over. It's going to be hard for you guys to see it. You'll be able to see the document, and hopefully we can get our hands on a clean copy. I will tell the people that are listening to this, the people out there in the world that don't want this kind of stuff seen, the bad guys, the bottom line is there's enough here for us to know what you guys are doing. And it's not going to work. Continue playing the nonsense. And, hey, look, if it's time to add Rodney to this and anybody that follows him and carrying on, well, I don't care to add Rodney to it. Rodney, it's time for Rodney to go. I'm down with that. He's been in office long enough. I kind of get sick of people who's been in office for just forever, specifically if they keep, if your name keeps popping into my show, you're probably not doing the right thing.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe they should spend more time finding a child molester who they've allowed to run on the loose, who they lost, rather than silencing the people. And that's the whole thing. Why don't you stay in your lane?
Yeah.
And why don't you go find that child molester instead of going over here and silencing people who are speaking the truth? This is absolutely absurd. And you know what? Each one of these people who have law degrees and your mission and the oath that you've taken, how disgusting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I want it known that the elected sheriff, the elected prosecutor, the counselors, the commissioners, mayors, council, you guys are constitutional offices. So you're being an elected official, you are swearing an oath to uphold the Constitution. And above all of your self-righteous bullshit and your power-hungry weirdness and all your cucky behavior, trying to make everybody else cucky and turning all that on and doing all that weird crap you guys do, all for that elusive taste of power that you guys continue. It's kind of like someone who is addicted to opiates or heroin or whatever. What they always say is, everybody's always chasing that first time they got high. You take the pills or you shoot the heroin or snort it or whatever, and you're like, oh, this is amazing. And then you're always chasing. It's never going to feel like that again. So it's like these people are chasing this high of power.
Well, Rob Steele back in 2022, when he was running, he gave a speech at the Tea Party, and he said, there's nothing like that high of getting those signs out, seeing your name everywhere. And, and then it's so exhausting, but then you can't wait till the next election.
I agree.
He talked about it just like that.
Yes.
Just like that.
Yeah. Listen, I know. I've got it. I'm like the heroin addict that doesn't shoot, I snort. So I'm not running for office, but I'm over here getting my bumps, doing a show 5 nights a week. Why do you think everyone's like, no one does a podcast 5 nights a week. They're like, do it once a week, once a month, twice a month. I do it 5 nights a week because it is a high. I mean, I very much agree to that. So, this is what we're finding here, folks. This was found its way to me today, and it's bad. So what you're going to see here is we're going to see a document that obviously, because I don't have someone claiming this, I'm going to tell you from what I'm witnessing here, from what I've been told from my source, that this is a document that it appears to have been crafted by either Rodney Cummings or someone in Rodney Cummings' office. So the elected prosecutor of Madison County, or a chief deputy prosecutor, or one of the investigators, or someone in the office on behalf of the office being sent out to at least the Randolph County Sheriff's Office, maybe all law enforcement in Madison County, or maybe like the main guys. And it's telling them how meetings should be ran. Moreover, letting them know how they can violate citizens' First Amendment rights. Yes, Stumblefoot every night.
And I'm going to tell you why it's so important to them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want us to call them out.
Right.
For overspending.
And
asking for money. So they want me shut up pretty quick.
Yeah. They don't like digging around. Absolutely. So here we go. This is a document that says Madison County Prosecutor's Office Public Meeting Quick Reference Guide. And this is, it's dated September 24th. Well, that's crazy. I mean, that's now. So, like, they really worked hard to get this out. Because
this is manipulating the numbers. People, pay attention right here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, because when did this all take place? September 10th. Well, they're not going to put the date on there because they don't want people to think that, they came up with this after the fact. So this is where the illusion begins.
Yeah.
And now it's starting to show what's going on in the prosecutor's office. When people are talking stuff about Rodney and those guys, I kind of always brushed it off. But now that it's happening to me, I'm like, I see here. So let me go into teacher mode and pick this apart like I would. First of all, you don't have an accurate date on there. Quit misleading the reader.
Absolutely. That's very, very true. Very true. Because they'll be like, we were doing this on September 1st.
I mean, to my advantage, it just shows, maybe they were in the wrong.
Yeah, right.
Let's cover our asses.
Right. So this document, let's read it as it goes here. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Indiana Open Door Law, Indiana Code, Chapter 514, 1.3 governs the type of restrictions a governing body may place on members of the public during public meetings. A governing body is defined as two or more individuals that compose a board, a commission, an authority, a council, a committee, a body, or other entity that takes official action on public business. Indiana Code 514, 1.52b. Official action means to receive information. You got here just in time, Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie's a perfect example of who's gotten screwed over.
Absolutely.
No one has gotten screwed over more than her from the prosecutor's office.
There you go. The 30 minutes they spent writing this up, they could have been looking into her situation.
Yes.
Okay. Official action means to receive information, deliberate, make recommendation, establish policy, make decision, or take final action. Indiana Code 514, 1.52d. Public business means, listen to this. This is important. Okay. Yeah. Don't try to read this. You're not gonna, matter of fact, I'm going to take it down. I'm going to read it. I'll just put up each page. You're not going to be able to read this because it's hard for us to read. We've had it work. I'm just showing you, the document is 5 pages and we broke it into to 10 pages so we can be able to see it. I will put everything up and let you see it again, but okay, moving on. Okay, public business means any function upon which the public agency is empowered or authorized to take official action. All meetings of the governing bodies of public agencies must be open at all times for purpose of permitting members of the public to observe and record them. effective July 1st, 2024. Now, this is where JD's unconstitutional House Bill 1338 or 18. What is it?
1338.
1338 comes into play. Now, and again, I want to tell people so they know, in the state of Indiana, it's a catch-22 position. It's kind of a, weird situation. Technically, as we were talking about earlier, they do not have to permit you a position in the meeting, a place in the meeting, a section of the meeting to talk. They don't have to permit public comment, but 99.9% of all governing bodies do. It's the ones that have questionable shit going on that like to not do it. That being said, it's a double-edged sword because you are in a public building during a public meeting talking to publicly elected officials, and you're a citizen who has a First Amendment right. So as long as you're not being insane and crazy with it, it's hard for them to shut you down. So it's kind of a catch-22 here. All right. So
I've always said that putting public comments on the agenda is more a matter of helping to keep order, because most people will wait to speak.
Yes.
If they know that there's a specific time set aside for them to speak.
Yep.
If you don't have that on there, then you open yourself up for people getting pissed off and standing up and starting to yell. So it's
That's
a
very
point
true.
of order to have comment.
That's
on
very
the
true.
agenda.
That is very true. That's very true. That's good. I've never said that, but that's good. Effective July 1st, 2024, Indiana Code Section 514.1.5 3.3 provides, because of JD Bitch Boy's unconstitutional law, a governing body provides a governing body the ability to adopt reasonable rules or policies, and for the removal of attendees. The statute provides if a governing body allows attendees to speak on a topic at a meeting, the governing body may designate a period for talking during the public, taking public testimony that is, a period for taking public testimony that is, before or during the governing body's discussion or consideration of a topic. So before or after, and before the governing body takes final action on the topic, and the amount of time allotted for attendees to speak on said topic. All right. A governing body may adopt reasonable rules or policies governing the conduct of a meeting, including any of the following. Reasonable restrictions on time allotted for attendees to speak on a topic, reasonable steps to maintain order during the meeting with respect to attendees and the elected officials of the governing body, a procedure for presiding member of the governing body to issue warnings to attendees who disrupt a meeting, subject to subsection G. The procedure may provide that an attendee receive 3 warnings. The presiding member of the governing body may, upon issuing the 3rd warning, direct the attendee to leave the meeting. And now this is where we go from page 1 to the second page of page 1. All right. The attendee to leave the meeting and the law enforcement officer to remove attendee from the meeting if the attendee refuses to leave when directed by the presiding member for violations of the rules or policies governing the conduct of the meeting adopted by the governing body. The governing body may notify attendees of any rules or policies. The governing body must notify attendees of rules or policies that are adopted under the section by posting the rules or policies in a visible area by the entrance of the meeting location, or by making an announcement of the rules or policies at the meeting before taking oral public comment. Nothing in this section may be concerned to
Construed
to prohibit a law enforcement officer from immediately removing an attendee from a meeting if the removal of the attendee is necessary to maintain order or to ensure the safety of another person. The attendee commits a criminal offense or the attendee violates the rules or policies governing the conduct of the meeting and meeting as adopted by the governing body. Okay, Indiana Code 3413 3-3A8 applies to this section. Now, I want to say it's very important here. If we're in a meeting and I walk up and I slap Katherine in the back of the head, obviously I've committed battery and I can be removed from a meeting. Okay. If during the meeting, when the council is attempting to conduct their business and they're voting on an ordinance or a resolution, and I am just sitting in there and I am just yelling a nonsensical word or just and totally disrupting, that is not a reasonable First Amendment political utterance. You know, the First Amendment in these situations have to maintain a political utterance, which could basically be anything. I mean, they're going to say, well, you just telling us that we're wrong and we suck. That is political talk. They might not like it, but that's considered political speech. So that's why reasonable is said in here a lot. All right.
But here's what I want to say about this so far, what you've read.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing in here protects the public.
Well, so number one, there's nothing that protects the public, and that's one of my biggest gripes.
Look at Ben Gale. He cannot control himself.
Yeah,
he's
right.
I mean, what about the threat that he is to me? He's the one up there like a madman. How did I know he wasn't going to throw the gavel at me?
Right. Absolutely.
You know, so where, prosecutors should be protecting the people. But as we've seen out of the prosecutor's office in Madison County, it's about protecting the elected official, even if the elected official is a child molester. We're going to protect them before we're going to protect women and children.
Yeah.
There is something seriously wrong in this prosecutor's office. Seriously wrong.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and I will tell you, I just cannot believe that Rodney has permitted this to be written up and sent from his office. I know that a lot of people dislike Rodney, and I understand that. I understand why. But just as a prosecutor, the fact that he has done this is nuts.
And I'm going to tell you this, whoever has written this,
if
you're planning on running for an elected seat, I got a strange feeling that you might find yourself to be in a bit of competition here in the next race. Because, people are not going to take lightly to the fact that you've got a prosecutor who protects the elected officials and doesn't protect the people.
Well, I'm just going to say, I sure hope this is
but there has to be mutual respect on behalf of the elected officials.
Yeah. I sure hope that because I'm going to ask Andrew. I sure as hell hope Andrew Hanna has nothing to do with this.
I mean, swamp is like quicksand, and they are sucking in decent
it's like a people. Cancer. Yep, right.
Yeah. I mean, this is not something I would have stepped in the middle of. Yeah. I mean, we all know that Ben's got a personal, whatever for me.
Yeah.
We all know about that.
Listen, the bottom line is watch what occurred at that meeting.
No one's in charge of keeping us safe, Nicole. You are in charge of keeping you safe.
Yeah.
I mean, look at these elected. They're loose cannons. I mean, look at Richwine. Remember when he stormed out of the meeting because Mikhail caught him in a lie and he was asking for new money and he hits the microphone. And I mean, they're out of control. These people have no control of their behavior. Has anybody ever seen me do that at the podium?
Yeah.
I'm getting gavelled and I'm still sitting there just taking it.
Being calm. You're like, well, I just want to make sure you're aware. You know?
Yeah, I've been gavelled a number of times. I've never lost my cool with these guys.
Yeah, yeah. All right, moving on here. This is the next page, all right? Because this gets nuts, folks. I'm telling you. All right. C. Okay, here. Let's see here. Oops. Sorry here. I want to get back to my. All right, public meeting.
Christopher, I promise you, I checked this thing 3 times before I finished it. The C is correct at the top of the second page.
Okay.
Okay, I promise.
I'm just seeing.
Oh,
I'm just seeing where I'm seeing where I left off. All right, so this says it applies to this section, and then it goes into C, the threat of communicated.
So if I was grading this, if I was a professor, which I was at one point in my life, everybody, I would say that this has been copied and pasted, but not thoroughly run through.
I would say, yeah, because what they're doing is they're taking sections of law and they're
quickly throwing something together just to say we've got something.
Yeah.
And that in itself should make you worry that we've got a prosecutor's office who's not attention to detail. This is a huge problem.
Yeah.
And no wonder Jamie has gotten screwed all the way through this process.
Right. It's nuts. I mean, I cannot believe they put this on their letterhead, and whether this be, like I said, I'm not sure. I know where I was told this came, but I don't have proof. But all I can say is, with this having the Madison County prosecutor's logo up there, I have to take it that this was sanctioned by Cummings, and that maybe this came from Cummings, maybe it came from Andrew, maybe it came from another deputy, maybe it came from an office manager or an investigator. But it don't matter who wrote it. When this was sent out, it was given Rodney's blessing. Shit rolls uphill in politics, but I'm telling you, whoever was involved in this, it's not a good thing. Okay, so all right, so moving on to this page 3, it goes on and it says, listen to me. That's what I was prepared. And listen to me, Katherine. I'm telling you, that's what's coming. You're going to take the ride.
I know.
I know. But you got to look at it as it's like you're chaining yourself to the tree. This is a political fight, and we will be there to bail you out. Don't stress it, but it's just part. I mean, this is a political fight, and that's what it is. I knew my arrest was coming in Winchester.
Of the truth.
Yep. All right.
Good. And I have shown all the documents of me being at the podium. I had full knowledge. It was fully prepared to speak on behalf. I mean, it wasn't like I mean that's what I'm like. These guys make me look better and better by the minute. Didn't know. Listen, I didn't know I had such energy that I could make things like this just pop out of the thin air.
Yeah,
that people would stop their whole office to put something like this together just so that they can, do this. But now the people are seeing how you can get bullied by the prosecutor, how you can get bullied by the counsel, how you don't get a fair trial. Now the people are beginning to see the corruption at its finest.
Absolutely.
Because now we're seeing where it all evolves from.
Absolutely.
The prosecutor's office.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So it says, a threat is communicated because of occupation, profession, employment, status, or ownership. Status of a person that the threat relates to or is made in connection with, the occupation, profession, employment status, or ownership of the status of a person. The threat is communicated using property, including electronic equipment or systems of a school corporation or other governmental entity. A threat means an expression by words or actions of an intention to unlawfully injure the person threatened or another person. No. Unlawfully subject a person to physical confinement or restraint? No. Commit a crime? No. Unlawfully hold official action or cause such withholding? No. Unlawfully withhold testimony or information with respect to another person's legal claim or defense, except for reasonable claim for witness fees or expenses? No. Expose the person threatened to hatred, contempt, disgrace, or ridicule. Okay. Now, I don't know what the hell that is, because we can ridicule these people all we want. Come get me. All right. Come get me. Falsely harm the credit or business reputation of a person, or cause evacuation of a dwelling or a building other than a structure of a vehicle for the purpose of this subdivision. The term includes expression of a word that expression that would cause a reasonable person to consider the evacuation of a dwelling or a building or another structure or a vehicle, even if the dwelling, building, or structure or vehicle is not evacuated. So that's all crazy shit. All right. It goes on. This is nuts. All right.
What about my reputation?
Yeah, right.
I mean, for them to speak to me the way they do, what about my reputation?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all because you're one. I made a Facebook post long ago that said, I didn't know I needed to hire an attorney to participate in the political process. And it's like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. That this is happening. So this goes on, and they really went into this. This is nuts. Whoever wrote this, I'm going to tell you, if it's Rodney Cummings, if it's Andrew Hanna, if it's one of their lackeys, whoever wrote this is a nut. All right. You don't kid yourself, dude, and pretend that you're a conservative, that you give a shit about the Constitution. You're nuts. All right. 50 years ago, New York Times versus Sullivan held that a state may not punish a defamatory falsehood relating to a public official conduct unless the state provides that the statement was made with actual malice. That is, with knowledge that it was false or with reckless disregard of whether it was false or not. Okay. So that's interesting. All right. Because we're not claiming any of that. This is all our opinion. This is all our thoughts on how they are conducting themselves. And we don't like it. We don't agree with it. We don't think it's right. None of this is in any type of way actual malice. Indiana Supreme Court held in a case that the actual malice standard is so steep that prosecutions involving public figures or issues of the public concern under Indiana Code or expose the person are all but impossible. Okay. However, the First Amendment permits the state to also ban a true threat. That is a statement where the speaker means to communicate a serious expression of intent to commit an act of unlawful violence to an individual, particular group of individuals, yada, yada, yada. The intent required is not whether the speaker actually means to carry out the threat, but only whether he intends to place the victims in fear of bodily harm or death. None of this has anything to worry about, any of that. No one's doing any of that. Let me tell you, Mr. Prosecutor, let me tell you, Sheriff Beeman, Chief Police so-and-so, whoever, and any of the council commissioners or any of the other dickhead elected officials over there. Nobody's threatening you in any way other than with your political reputations and your political jobs. Other than that, you're safe, all's well. All right?
I never knew that telling the truth was a threat.
Oh, well, see, here's the thing is,
yeah,
you can't say that malice includes things that just annoy them.
Yeah. This is where it's
let me
very
ask
big.
you this.
Yeah.
What do you think the Attorney General would say about this interpretation of the law?
You want me to tell you exactly what he would say? He'd say, whatever my buddies think.
Well, he's not a fan of Cummings.
Well, he might not be, but he is a fan of the establishment bullshit. So really
then maybe
don't
we should
know.
send it and see what they'll do.
It would be interesting to see.
I mean, I don't know, so I can't sway either way. I don't really know Rokita, but
I would hope that Rokita would say that this is insane.
Yeah, because there's nothing to protect the public in this whole thing. It's all about protecting the elected officials.
Keep in mind, Rokita threw out a journalist, a very well-respected journalist, Abdul Hakim Shabazz, and would not allow him in his press conferences, would not accept his quote-unquote press credentials, and would ban him from things and tried to have him arrested, all kinds of chaos. Todd Rokita is a punk.
And I can't speak either way, but I would be interested to see and give it the chance. I mean, that's all I can do is give it the, you know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. I really was like, okay, this happened, and I just can't believe this is the next step that they wanted to take.
They are doubling down. This is called doubling down. They are doubling down on what their approach is. They're doubling down on their hatred for the First Amendment. I'm going to dare say their hatred for you, their hatred for any of us that speak out with you or speak out for you or speak out against them. I'm the one that should be more
concerned about my safety than them.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at these guys. I mean, they're all way bigger than me. I mean, I was nothing but polite when I left. I was nothing but kind when I sat down. I do not understand what the issue is with the truth. And I would hope that Mr. Rokita would say, this is a big problem.
I would hope. Yeah. Listen.
The other thing is, Laureen and Sean, they do a great job. And they're like, always try to look and see, is there federal cases that are cited? And I don't know that there are any federal, just quickly glancing over this, that are cited in here.
Well, New York v. Sullivan might be. New York Times v. Sullivan. Oh, no. I don't know. I'll have to look. New York Times v. Sullivan. I'll look that up. Let me go on with this because Kate brings up a good point. This bottom sentence here where it says, given the actual malice standard of the New York Times v. Sullivan, charging a member of the public for a comment at a public meeting under Indiana Code section discussed above is practically impossible. You understand that? Listen to this. I'm going to say that again. Charging a member of the public for comments made at a public meeting under Indiana Code is practically impossible. What do those words mean to you? If I tell you,
you're always going to lose when you challenge the public.
Yeah, right. If I tell you that doing something is practically impossible, all right. So, however,
just like Sean, he had called me shortly after this occurred, and he says, "Have you ever watched The People versus Larry Flynt?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "You need to watch that."
Yeah.
He took them to task on the freedom of speech. Absolutely. And he won.
Yeah.
And look at his magazine.
Yeah. Right. Right.
I mean, this is a very uncharted territory that I might just be willing to.
Oh, I've charted it, baby. Come on in. The water is nice.
Yeah. So let's see what happens.
Listen to this. Now, these people are insane with what they're saying. However, it's impossible to charge people of the public. However, a person of the public could be charged with intimidation if they threaten the safety of another person, including a member of the governing body, threaten a forcible felony, threaten to damage property, or I mean, who's doing that?
I mean, that's
Nobody's
the great
threatening
news.
any
I don't
of
have
that.
anything to worry about because I don't do any of that stuff.
Nobody's threatening any of that. That's nuts. All right. So we've read through page 1. We've read through page 2. We're really going to get ready. These last 3 pages are really getting into the crazy town. Okay. So then whoever wrote this, whatever nut job wrote this, they then titled a part in here, letting the sheriff and anyone else know these are applicable criminal statutes, wink, wink, that might apply to you, might apply to us, might really help, rock and roll and get these people in. Okay. So disorderly conduct. Okay. Disorderly conduct here. Indiana Code Section 3545.13 provides that a person who recklessly, knowingly, or intentionally engages in fighting or in tumultuous conduct, makes unreasonable noise or continues to do so after being told to stop, or disrupts a lawful assembly of persons, commits disorderly conduct, a Class B misdemeanor. Okay? Now, listen, that's what I was arrested for in Winchester. And the prosecutor who wrote the legal finding in that case, who said, we are not charging Mr. Bilbrey, that is not happening, okay, said that the reason that I could not be charged with disorderly conduct is because I was only speaking. I was not fighting or engaging in tumultuous behavior. And while we were in a meeting of assembled persons, and that definitely fit, you have to look at what was going on. First, my speech was wholly political language, which is of the freedom of speech of the First Amendment. Political speech is the most protected of any. It's all protected and it's all important. Political speech is like up there at the front, okay? So that's important. So anything Katherine's ever said has always fallen under that, okay? Always, 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 always. She's never been out of line. Listen, I'm going to be honest. They violated Cassie's rights too. Cassie's rights were violated, all right? Here's the thing. Cassie has done things which might fall under disorderly because she's made noises or whatever, and it hasn't been wholly political. But I've never heard Katherine make anything. And what Cassie did on Tuesday wasn't that. Cassie was violated on Tuesday. So was Katherine. And that's just the truth of it. Cindy asked, who defines disorderly? Well, the state does. The state does through their code. Yeah, I mean, it's basically comes down to the understanding of an attorney. You know what that attorney you could give the legal definition to 10 attorneys and get 10 different statements. So, all right, moving on here. So they want to really make it clear on what a public meeting is. So they say a public meeting in Indiana constitute a lawful assembly of persons as contemplated by the disorderly conduct statute. Okay, because one's conduct or expression may be free speech protected under Indiana Constitution, an application of the disorderly conduct statute must pass constitutional scrutiny. All right, this is where it gets very important. They're going to try to tell them what they can do to make sure that the arrest is upheld because it passes the constitutional scrutiny. Okay, listen. When speech is the underlying basis for disorderly conduct, arrest, reviewing courts arrest, reviewing courts consider whether the expression constituted political speech. Okay, that's what I was just talking about with my prosecutor. Political speech includes all speech which is directed at government actors and focuses on the actors or their intentions. Katherine's golden. All right. If the speech is political speech, the state must demonstrate that the magnitude of the impairment is slight. Is that what it's saying? Do you think that's what it's saying? It's hard to read. Or the speech amounted to public nuisance such that it inflicted particularized harm analogous to torturous injury or on a readily identifiable private interest. There's nothing that Katherine has done that fits that. So
the only harm
wholly
that was done
Yep.
was their egos were bruised
Yeah.
because they misappropriated funds and they got called on it. And Tom Eckert said the commissioners have never been sued and they got called on it. That's the only harm that was done, that they were a liar, pants on fire. That's it.
Yeah, right. Now,
if you feel me saying liar, pants on fires is demeaning, well, you know what? That gavel that's shutting me up from speaking the truth is way more insulting.
Yes, right. Absolutely. So basically, it goes on to say that, a person can be charged for saying words to an elected official, but it has to basically disrupt their enjoyment of their privacy. We're in a public meeting. They have no expectation of privacy or enjoyment of private time.
Oh, this is what you don't understand. They believe this is a private club, and
Absolutely.
I wasn't invited.
That's exactly.
So this is a private meeting with the good old boys club, and they're allowed to lie. I mean, I don't know if they think they're a part of the Masons. I don't know if they think there's some secret club that they can do all this kind of stuff, but the gig is up. And here's the thing. If all these people show up for the meeting, what are you going to do? Arrest 30 people?
Yeah.
You think the sheriff's office is going to want to be that busy that night?
On October 8th, ladies and gentlemen, we need to pack the house in Madison County.
I mean, it needs to be standing room only. And when they say public comment, you need to be all in line. It doesn't matter. And here's the thing. There's a paper in the back of the room. You have to sign the paper before the meeting starts in order to be able to speak at these meetings.
Which I feel is a complete violation.
Yes. So
well.
You have to sign up and then they will call your name.
Yeah.
So I'm just letting you know that. You
Um,
have 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes to rebuttal. What these guys have had months to investigate. But I didn't want anybody to worry, because when we just did the budget, none of the council people had the budget before the meeting went on. So these people, you know why they're so uptight in these meetings? Because they're not prepared.
Yeah.
This is the same thing when I would have classes and I was grading students who were presenting in the front of the room. The kids who didn't do the work and were flying by the seat of the pants, they were the ones who were horrible and hateful when they had to answer questions because they weren't prepared on the material.
Yeah. You know what's yeah, right. right. The next part of this is very important. There are no published cases in Indiana analyzing disorderly conduct statute involving political speech at a public meeting. Like, folks, what? I mean, what? He got to this, the author got to this, and thought they should still continue on? That blows my mind. Why do you think there are no published cases? Because nobody's been this flippin' dumb.
What elected official would go down this avenue? I'm telling you, this is political suicide.
It is.
This right here is political suicide.
It's political suicide, Andrew, Hannah. It's political suicide, Rodney Cummings. It's political suicide, Ben Gale.
You're silencing
Rich
your
Wine.
voters.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do such a thing?
Yeah. Nuts. They go on to say, however, the Indiana Supreme Court upheld disorderly conduct convictions in JD v. State, where the political speech consisted of persistent, loud yelling over and overbearing the officer's attempts to speak and functions as a law enforcement officer. So there's a difference. There, you can engage in political speech with a police officer. This is different. So while they did find a singular case for them to look at, it's not the same thing as in a meeting. So, to hell with that. They're really stretching. Next, they go on to define criminal trespass. Okay, a person who has not having a contractual interest in a property knowingly or intentionally enters the real property of another person after having been denied entry by the other person or that person's agent. Not having contractual interest in the property knowingly or intentionally refuses to leave the real property of another person after having been asked to leave by another person of that or that person's agent. A member of the public who refuses to leave after being instructed by the presiding member of the governing body at a public meeting or by law enforcement officer could be arrested for criminal trespass. However, an arrest for criminal trespass could also be challenged as a constitutional violation. All right? Under Indiana Constitution, Article 1, Section 9 of the Indiana Constitution. This clause embodies the freedom and responsibilities standard of which prohibits the legislature from impairing the flow of ideas and allows it to sanction individuals who commit abuse. Okay. And then in wrapping up, they read through a case down there. Indiana Court of Appeals reviewed an arrest for criminal trespass where an individual arrived at a prosecutor's office and demanded his ticket be dismissed. None of that shit has anything to do with what we're talking about here. They are stretching this shit so far out of bounds. It's nuts. Okay, we're going to the last page. The last page.
This guy's Sproul's attorney.
Yeah, right. That's what I want to know. Dude, I've not seen this level of incompetence in legal writing outside of Sproul's attorney. Like, holy shit. I sure hope Beeman does not tell his guys to follow any of this. Basically, maybe I do. But you know what I'm seeing in this document? Basically, if I'm really reading between the lines here, I'm kind of hearing the prosecutor telling everyone, you can't do anything here. You better not arrest these people because none of this stuff is legal. All right. So in ending here, let me pull this last section up. Where are we at? Okay. Well, we missed the section on resisting law enforcement and intimidation, but resisting law enforcement and intimidation have nothing to do here. Basically, convictions for resisting law enforcement require more than simply refusing to comply with law enforcement officers. order. The word forcibly modifies the entire string of verbs in the particular section of the statute. So listen, a person resisting law enforcement in the state of Indiana is a person who knowingly or intentionally forcibly resists, obstructs, or interferes with law enforcement officer. So if a law enforcement officer comes up to you in the meeting and says, hey, you gotta go, they can't just arrest you. They can't just arrest you for this. If you say, I'm not going, you're not resisting. Resisting is if you try to pull away from you. The moment that a law enforcement officer goes hands-on with you, don't fight that. That you can then be charged with resisting. If they go hands-on.
And that was my whole thing. That's why I was asking, are you arresting me? Okay, I'll get up. I'll gladly let you arrest me. I just needed to know what we were doing. I mean, if that's the route that they want to go, I'm not going to resist. I just need to tell me what we're doing, and then I will cooperate with however you want to move forward. I'm not an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm happy to work with you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's my whole thing is I haven't done anything wrong. So do what you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah. So, okay, this ends up by saying, consistent with Indiana code, blah, 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 governing body wishing to implement reasonable rules or policies for the removal of attendees should adopt rules consistent with statute and post these rules prominently in the location where they hold their meetings or make announcements of all the specific rules or policies all at the meeting before taking oral public comment. The rules or policies should be reasonable, and they have reasonable in they have it italicized for some unknown reason. So, like, do they not care? I mean, what are they doing with it? That's really interesting that they decided to make that stand out. All right. They should be reasonable and provide considerable latitude for criticism. Consistent with the First Amendment of the United States Constitution and Article 1, Section 9 of the Indiana Constitution. These rules, damn it, hold on. These rules or policies should provide a reasonable restriction on time for public comment and provide that members of the public who disrupt meetings should receive at least 3 warnings before being asked to leave, unless they commit otherwise criminal act as discussed below, wherein a member of the public could be immediately removed from the meeting by law. All right. Enforcement and arrested or by law enforcement and arrested for the offense. Specific statutes for law enforcement at public meetings. Okay, this is very important. County Council, Indiana Code, Section 36236C defines the county sheriff or county police officer shall attend the meetings of the fiscal body if requested by the fiscal body and shall execute its orders. All right. County commissioners, Indiana Code, county sheriff or county police officer shall attend these meetings and of the executive body requested by the executive and shall execute its orders. There are no specific statutes for municipal law enforcement agencies with respect to public meetings. So that basically then goes into City of Anderson, you know, their police agencies have no ability. They can be called there if there's a crime, but this only pertains to the sheriff's department particularly. Okay. And then before we go into the very last section here, you got something, Kate, you just popped up.
Yeah. I have a problem with that crap they put in about code and having to execute the orders of the council and
right.
Okay. And the reason I have a problem with that, I understand it's their meeting, it's their building, they hold authority. So if he's asked to do something, he's supposed to do it. I understand that. However, if they give him an unlawful order arrest that person and charge them with disorderly conduct.
If Beeman or any other sheriff isn't smart enough to know that, what?
You do not have to obey
right.
order, just
And-
like in the military.
And hopefully
Problem
Beeman,
with that, putting that in there
right.
without stating that explicitly.
Hopefully
Because you're gonna
Beeman
have
knows
some
that.
hot-headed little jerk who's going to be like, well, the council said to do it, and the paper says that we have to execute, so and the county's going to get in trouble.
Yep. And I think that, I mean, I hope that's not what they attempted to do, and hopefully Beeman is smarter than that. I guess time will tell.
This whole document smacks to me of CYA.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's very, very, very true. And we're getting ready to watch a video here in a minute that Katherine just sent, which is fantastic. I've got to
That's
save
how I would
the
like
places.
to end that meeting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last part says constitutional background. And, I feel like they probably should have started. They probably should have started with the constitutional background. That's what's wrong with America today. We discard that, the most important part. The First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States provides, literally they wrote this. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the exercise of free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or the of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The First Amendment aims to ensure that debate on public issues remain uninhibited, robust, and wide open. Okay. The sort of robust political debate encouraged by the First Amendment is bound to produce speech that is critical of those who hold public office. But one of the prerogatives of the American citizenship is inevitably will not always be reasoned with moderate public. I'm having a hard time seeing what this says here, Kate. You will not always be reasoned with moderate public figures, as well as public officials will be subject to
vehement, caustic, and sometimes unpleasantly sharp attacks.
Yep.
Even when those attacks are unfair, offensive, or ignorant, the First Amendment protects them so that legitimate debate will not be stifled. Brewerton versus State 7, blah, blah, blah. Additionally, Article 1, Section 9 of the Indiana Constitution provides no law shall be passed restraining the free interchange of thought and opinion, or restricting the right to speak, write, or print freely on any subject whatever, but for the abuse of that right, every person shall be responsible.
So, in my opinion, they should have started with this first.
Yeah.
And that should have been that should have been what they sent out.
Yeah. You can end it right there.
Yeah, that's what Rodney or Andrew or whoever should have sent out and been like, here you go, read up on this.
Instead, they sent out a load of bullshit and a bunch of potential charges that could be filed against someone, and failed to mention that political speech is protected. And so go ahead and try, but we're going to end up getting fucked if you do.
Now, I will say to whoever's credit this was, I will say, in all of those charges, they then did list a bunch of reasons why they should not do any of this. Like, well, you could do this, but I wouldn't because of this. You can do this, but that's not resisting law enforcement. You could do this, but that's not disorderly. You could do this. Oh, this one time they could do that, but it was at a prosecutor's office. None of this applies to anything Katherine or anyone else is doing. I will be there. God willing, come hail or high water, I will be there October 8th to stand beside you, in front of you, behind you, wherever. And if there was this time.
Here's the thing people need to understand. I'm not going with an agenda.
Yeah, right.
I'm only going to speak if false statements are being spoken.
Right.
So
You might not speak on the 8th.
If the council doesn't want me at the podium,
Yeah.
don't allow people to get up there and lie.
Right.
That's all. They're in complete control of this. But if you let the people get up there and lie, I'm coming to the podium.
Right. Yeah, it's not that hard to do the right thing. Doing the right thing would prevent all of this crap from happening.
Yeah,
It
telling
is
the
not
truth.
difficult.
You know, the council, we voted 7 members in. Only one person is deciding what can and cannot be. I didn't vote Ben Gale into that seat.
Right.
I want to
Right.
hear from the people that I voted for.
Yeah.
You know, and so the fact that the people, you know, I mean, I want to hear from Bethany Keller, but look at the way they treat and talk to her. You know, I would like Jody to speak. Sometimes, you know, Jody's a 50-50. Sometimes she gets it right. Sometimes not so much. She's a 50-50. Bethany's a lot more consistent. And then Mikhail, well, he's just a squirrel.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He just likes to hear himself speak.
That's what I was gonna say. He's there. Yeah. I can't can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I've got the wheel of death. I can't see the screen right at the moment. I'm trying to pull up that video. But yeah, you're exactly right. They're all squirrels. And that's the thing. No one's going to this meeting with the intention of we want them to do the right thing. If all of a sudden this council and the commissioner over there started governing themselves accordingly and acting appropriate, this could all go away.
And contrary to what the prosecutor's office believes, part of our job is to hold these people accountable.
Well,
I mean, that's part of our role, is to make sure they are doing what they are supposed to be doing. Part of our role is to make sure they're not playing slip and slide with our money, and that's what they're doing. When you see politicians getting rich,
yeah,
be weary. When you see that an auditor is taking down his taxes on his properties and hiding that, be leery. I mean, these are things, people, you need to be paying attention. There were supposed to be no raises in the county in 23. I even have the article that supports that. But Gardner's office all received raises. This is a problem. I am not against raises. Let me be crystal clear. But what I am against is that not everybody is fairly getting a shake at raises. When I see auditors being paid more than our road deputies on the street, I got a problem, and it's a big one. It's a huge one. Those men and women go out every day. They don't know if they're coming back home. And you mean to tell me that the auditor's office is getting paid more than them? No.
Katherine,
No.
You don't know how dangerous those plat books are.
Yes. So that's all I'm saying. And that's why my problem, and that's why I have a beef with this. They did not give the sheriff's office the raises and the things that they want to do. They actually are cutting them. But Gardner's office is getting theirs. Even if he has to underhanded it, slide it in there like he did last year and put in the wrong budget, he's getting it done for his team. And until we hold these people accountable, you know, if you think me holding them accountable is a bad thing, then we no longer live in America. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I have many family members who have fought for this country. They didn't fight for us to be in a communist world. They fought for our freedom.
Absolutely.
And it is disgusting if you think my dad is going to lay 6 feet under this ground where the military has put him for what he has done, and he'd do it all over again. So would Papa. So would Uncle Joe. So would Killer Kowalski. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I'm always going to fight for what they fought for us, to be safe. We sleep on this side of the wall, you know, very safely for the most part. We're, you know, especially in Indiana. And I cannot believe more people aren't sitting in those seats saying, how dare you?
Yeah.
But this is what they think. They think that we're stupid. They think we're ignorant. And that whole thing that you just read, that is something that these elected officials need to learn to convey to the people. I have never been disrespectful at that podium. I've never slammed it out of my way. I have never, done half the things that Rich Wine and the lies that have been spewed up there. I've never done that. And this is the disrespect I get because I've exposed and I've told the truth? No, I'm not buying it. And if that means I have to go to jail, then you better have a pretty good reason why you're putting me there, because I'm telling you, I own a business. There's a lot of people that count on me day in and day out, and they count on me for my honesty and my integrity.
Well, I'm going to tell you, the amount, we would bail you out immediately, but the amount of, they need to be aware the amount of damage that you could receive because of your profession. Listen, we want intelligent, high esteemed members of the public, as well as we want the people that didn't finish high school, that are just working down on the corner for $10 an hour. We want everybody to participate in the government. But if they think they're going to shut you up and they do something stupid and they violate your rights and they do something like that, it is going to cost the county a pretty dime. And I'm going to tell you, that's not what she's here about. That's not what she's for. She's not trying to cost the taxpayers money.
I just wanted a morgue. I just wanted a morgue for the people. That's all I wanted. There's nothing for me to take from that, people. Nothing. I just wanted something decent, humane, where you could take family members, and if they wanted to see their loved ones, they could see their loved ones. That's all I wanted. It wasn't for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is what has become of this.
Look at that comment. That comment's very, 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 very true right there from Elon Musk. What I see all over the place is people who care about looking good while doing evil.
Yes.
And that is very, very true.
I had a patient come in last week and he was thanking me. And he said to me, there's not many people who would literally take their patient and sit through an AA meeting. But you did with my son. And as he spoke to me, and this man always gives very good advice. And he actually ended up going to the AA meeting himself, and he gave some words of wisdom. And he said, because some of them were asking him, if I was your son, what advice would you give me? And he says, if you were my son, I'd be saying, why don't we get through tonight? And if we don't drink tonight, we'll take that as a win. And we'll worry about tomorrow. But let's try to get a win for tonight. So he's always very good with wisdom. And he said to me, Katherine, I've met a lot of people, but you truly have a servant's heart. None of this is for you. You truly want what's best for the person. Most people won't give up that 90 minutes in the evening to go to an AA meeting. They'll tell their patient to go there, but they literally won't go there and drag their patient there, but you do.
Yeah.
Not thinking of your safety or what you're getting ready to walk into, just the fact that, can I help this person at this moment? And he says, you're the exact person who needs to be in those seats, questioning these people.
Absolutely.
And so, that made me feel like, I am doing this for a purpose. There are some people who are watching.
And when you have, because I know, as big and bad and tough, when you can take it for so long and then something happens and it's like, oh no, am I doing the right thing? Or maybe I'm not doing the wrong thing. Maybe I should shut up. Maybe I should go away. But it always seems like right when that is happening and right when it's finally getting to you and you're finally questioning yourself, something like that happens. And then it fires you back up and it keeps you going until the next time. And that's how I know that I'm in the right path, that I'm doing right.
And I've heard those words for several days now, because I've asked myself, why am I doing this? And he kind of answered the question. You're just born this way.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I tell you,
all I can do is
this is what
forward.
Go ahead.
All I can do is keep moving forward.
Well, this is
and
what I
praying for the
think that
best.
you need to do at the next meeting. This right here.
Chair trying to get the other candidates to leave. They don't. The fireworks begin.
If we may have the first question for the question.
You asked me if you could make an announcement first.
Excuse
And I asked you for permission to make an announcement.
Would the sound man please turn Mr. Reagan's mic off for a minute? Is this on? Mr. Green, did you turn that mic off?
You asked for me if you would. I am paying for this microphone, Mr.
Oh,
And that was sent to me. And I'm not going to say it actually was sent to Laureen from somebody
yeah.
who wanted to get me a message. And, that is truly, it's not just, and that was somebody from outside of our county that's watching us who wanted us to understand you're on the right path. Don't give up no matter how much they stack the deck.
Yeah.
I mean, they can keep stacking the deck, but I'm clearly on the right path when you guys are quickly doing a knee-jerk reaction and putting something like this out to silence your people. What is wrong with you? No wonder Jamie Lynn never had a voice. Now the people are going to see exactly what they have done wrong in the Sumner's case.
Right.
And many other cases are going to come forward. I mean, you should see the amount of people that are contacting me on Facebook who are having problems in the prosecutor's office. It's unbelievable. I'm starting to tell some of the attorneys I'm referring to, hey, I'm going to get a referral bonus because this is craziness. Right? So,
Yeah,
and,
right.
and that's the thing. In Madison County, don't even think about using an attorney in Madison County right now.
Yeah.
This is nuts.
Yeah.
And there are some good attorneys in Madison County, but they're so afraid of this bureaucracy. You can't be afraid.
Yeah, that's right.
Things are changing. Things are going back to I paid for that building. I have a right to sit in there. If people knew what I paid in property taxes a year, you would absolutely, I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, so, it's here. We're going to move forward. I have no intentions but just to show up and be Katherine at the next meeting, put it on Facebook Live. I hope people are engaging. People are starting to say, we've got to go. We've got to watch what they're doing. I mean, somebody sent me a thing of ping pong balls today at their council meeting. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, I guess this is a good one. Your audience would like this one too. This one is a really good one. This was on CNN, and somebody put this on and sent it to me. I said, see, Madison County, when you look at this, it actually doesn't look so bad. Oh yeah, here it is. This is a great one. I would never in my wildest dreams do something like this, but it was a really kind of good idea, but I'm not this creative. This was something else. It was unbelievable.
You're going to get me in trouble.
Did it come through?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't even know what this is, but we're going to, now these are my people.
I don't know when this took place, but these people were really creative. I'm not this creative.
Look at this. All right, let me present screen.
I don't sit closer to the podium, Cindy, because I like to let them know I'm coming to the podium.
Yes. Yes. All right, here we go. Look at this. Look at this. Look now. I gotta hand it to everybody in this. I'm gonna hand it to the protesters. And I don't even know what's going on here with this council, but I'm gonna hand it to them. You see them, they're not banging the gavel, they're not getting up and running out. They are letting these people have. This is what I talk about. This is what I talk about all the time. And I've talked about this from November 27th, 2017, the night that I was arrested, when I first got out of the jail, and I went home and I made that short video on my porch. And I said, I set the camera up. The very first thing I did when I got home was I went like this. Because, you know, in TV shows, anytime someone gets out of being arrested, that's the first thing they do is they rub their wrists, like getting the handcuffs off. And that's how I started out. And I talked about it. And I said, you know what disgusts me is I am one person speaking politely into a meeting, asking questions. I'm not going in and taking a meeting over. I'm not disrupting you. And I've said this since day one. You can get on, just go to YouTube and look at large crowd protest in council meeting. Type those words into YouTube and you can find meeting after meeting after meeting of people going in and taking over meetings. In this situation, they're all throwing ping pong balls up on the floor and the crowd is chanting, "You have dropped the ball. You have dropped the ball." We'll listen to it again here in a minute. That's not bad. That's not dangerous. It's not violent. It's not vulgar. I've listened to meetings where, and bear with me for the words, I'm just going to tell you like it is. I've listened to protests where they walked in and said, "Fuck the police. Fuck the police." And they say it over and over and over. And you know what? However wrong, however corrupt, however dirty or bad those councils are, they sit there and they allow those people to be heard. They'll let that go on for 10 or 15 minutes.
Watch the guy who's running this. I am very impressed with what he does.
Yeah.
We have speakers remaining. Let's respect their right to speak. Please respect the right of others to speak.
And look at him hitting the
gently.
He's not beating the gavel like he's murdering somebody.
Gently saying, you know, we're going to let the others speak.
Yeah, right.
Back to order. The meeting will come back to order. You got to hit the gavel. The meeting will come back to order. The meeting will come back to order.
I don't know what
police have stepped in. You see how many police officers there? There's like 3 police officers there.
And they're all calm.
There to make what?
They're all calm. The police officers are calm.
They're making sure they're like, dude, this is easy peasy for us. We're making sure, you know, that nobody's getting out of order, whatever. It's cool. They're letting these people. This needs to be sent straight to Rodney Cummings' mailbox. Andrew Hanna needs to see this. John Beeman needs to see this. I think I'm blocked from
everybody, but my page is open. This is on there. Somebody posted this about me, saying, you know, continue on. I mean, I am appreciative of the amount of people who are very positive about this and want me to continue on this, you know, this avenue.
Yeah.
You know, but I thought maybe if you didn't see that, that was a good one.
I did not know this. I'm glad you've sent me this. I'm going to post this everywhere. This is beautiful. This is protest, folks. Boston Tea Party. This is the American process, man. Now, look, you can't do this every meeting. It can't be total chaos. Things have to get done. But they're making a point, and hopefully it's opening up a dialogue. The media is aware. Look, this is on CNN. The media is aware of this. This is being shared around. These people's message getting out, and they're being heard, and hopefully it will create a dialogue. And
Yeah.
that's what it's
While
about.
you guys are messaging Hoyt about
Yeah.
Rainwater speaking, why don't you send him part of the video showing how I'm silenced and walked out by the sheriff for telling the truth?
Absolutely.
Add that
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we need to make these guys more of stars on news. I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but it's going to take more than just me.
It is. It absolutely is.
You know,
Absolutely.
and that doesn't mean that you have to get up at the podium, but maybe you share it with a news channel and give your 2 cents on it.
Yeah.
Or you know, whatever that should be, or you quietly are sending it to your other friends that say, hey, can you go fill a seat on October 8th? The October 8th meeting is at 6 o'clock at Madison County Chambers there. I want you to understand that this is where they're going to be adopting the budget.
Oh, this
So
is a big,
it's a pretty
this is a
intense
big meeting.
Now, the last time we had this meeting, it went on until 1 a.m. in the morning. This is when that whole fiasco went down. That Rick had submitted the budget that he wanted and Gail wanted, but then he was called on it by Mikhail, Bethany, and Jody that it was the incorrect budget. Now, by no means do I think that's going to happen on October 8th. We are all adults. You can come and go as you please. So if you're there for 30 minutes, you want to leave, leave. But just the fact that you showed up even for 30 minutes makes a difference. And that's what I want the people to understand. They need to be able to look at you and say, boy, we've got a problem here because people have really started to wake up.
People are coming.
I will tell you, Ben Gale really doesn't care because Ben Gale is done. You know, they don't usually meet in December. So he has the October meeting and the November meeting. They're supposed to meet in December, but they don't. They always take the month of December off. So it'll be
I'm glad he's gone, but I almost hate that he's gone because I'd like to stick it in his face. But yeah.
Well, and here's what they don't understand. Just because you're off the council doesn't mean you're still not accountable. I mean, if somebody comes back and goes after them for all these misappropriations, they still have to answer that for. Anthony Emery. Just because you come out of that seat does not mean, hey, I don't have to answer for this stuff. Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I don't even know that you could turn this in to Madison County to investigate because the prosecutor's office has been doing the same thing. So you have to go, so they're going to have to go bigger, like to a federal thing of this misappropriation because you can't get a fair situation out of this.
Well, I know that, was it Milford, Kristopher? Milford, Indiana, where they had a couple elected officials who were no longer in office and they had misappropriations and they.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that people don't understand. You can still be held accountable.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, and that's the whole thing. So there's just lots of, you know, things that are spinning, lots of wheels that are going off. You can clearly see in Madison County, they're not holding it together as much as they used to. And I'm excited that Ben Gale is coming out of his seat. I'm excited that Anthony Emery's coming out of his seat. I'm excited Mikhail Vaughn's coming out of his seat. Whatever 3 people come into their seats now, they're going to be new. So they're not going to be so quick to silence people because they don't know how to cut them off at the path because they don't know what's kind of all been going on. They don't know about all these misappropriations of funds. They don't know. And believe me, these people don't want to go to jail because Gale and Emery and those guys haven't been doing the right thing.
Wait. Mikhail Vaughn didn't win?
No, that's why he went from the bulldog to reject instead of reelect. He lost by 40 some votes.
So who's not going to be there?
So Gale, Emery, and Mikhail are going to come off. So whoever they put in that president seat, which I would imagine it's probably going to be Jody Norick. I would assume Jody, honestly, Jody would let people speak a lot more leniency to allow the people to speak.
Okay.
So we'll see. Only time will tell. You know what I'm saying? That's all we can do. Time always tells the story for the people.
That is definitely true.
You know, and I'm telling you, as much as I've wanted to walk away from this, I needed to see this through.
Oh yeah, no question.
And that's what I've done.
Yeah.
But if they just would have given me a morgue. So that's kind of where we're at. But I think these were two great videos to end this tonight. And, we're just going to keep moving forward and seeing what we can do. And we'll see what they come out with and what happens.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely. She's right. There's the main Madison County Council meeting Tuesday, October 8th at 6 p.m. Obviously show up. We will.
My videos are getting 7, 8, 9,000 views.
Mm-hmm.
That means we are on the right path. We are winning.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to take some time. Slow and steady. We'll get there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's very true. Absolutely. We will obviously, we'll do our best to live stream that here from her video. I will be there. I want to go and be there and be a part of that and watch it. Just absolutely amazing. I just periodically send messages to Ben Gale, like to his text. I text him frequently and say things to him. I'll text him this video. I like to send things. I send things to Russ Willis. Sometimes he'll respond back to me and we text back and forth a minute. That's always comical.
I want you to know that they are watching. And the reason why I know they're watching is because I took pictures of the resolution about the conduct right? I took pictures of that. Well, the good thing is my video is time-stamped. My pictures are time-stamped. At the time that it was posted, it had 3 signatures on there. It's been up there for 2 years. Well, voila, today it has 4 signatures on there. So they're watching. I know they're watching. And you know what, guys? I appreciate all you've done for our county. But now the corruption will be exposed. And unfortunately, all the things that you've done wrong for the county will overshadow what you've done right. And that's what's so shameful of that. Why you would want to do that to your family name, your name, I have no idea. But I'll tell you this right now. I guarantee you that my daughters are very proud of the way that their mother behaves and conducts herself at the podium and what she has fought for. I'm not so sure that your children are very proud of the way you've behaved. And it's interesting because Gardner's family, they tell people that everything on social media that is said about him is a lie.
It's so weird.
It's weird. But I will tell you that, and again, I'm going to emphasize to everybody, I talked to you about this last week. My goal is to get young people more involved.
Yeah.
This video was hot and heavy in the dining halls at my daughter's colleges. And they've had more kids come to their rooms to sign up to vote after this video.
That's
more
good.
women than you could imagine who say, now we see the importance. So I do appreciate that they are giving me some things to teach children on how not to behave and why it's important to be involved.
Oh yeah. I love it.
And that's what's important too. The kids asked me, they said, why are you doing this? And I said to them, I'm doing this because if I don't do this, you kids are going to be in a communist country with no voice.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I said, I hope one day when they're my age that they'll fight for their children as we are fighting for them.
Sure. Absolutely.
And they'll pay it forward. So that's really what this comes down to. It's very sad and disturbing to see these people behave. And I can't say all men because we've got a couple females up there. I mean, Diana Likens herself, what a disgusting way to represent women. Horrible way to represent women.
Will Bethany be back on the 8th?
I would think so. I mean, I mean, but I don't know. I don't speak to Bethany, so I have no idea. But I would imagine my medical thought process is if she had a normal vaginal delivery at 4 to 6 weeks, she should at least be able to come to the meeting, for an hour or two, depending on if she's breastfeeding. So I would think, or maybe she could just Skype in if she's not comfortable enough to leave the house yet. But I would imagine, but we'll just have to see.
I hope she does. I mean, I hope she does.
I hope she does
I hope
too.
she does.
I have faith in Bethany. I have faith in Beeman. I know you think this is crazy, but I have faith. And that's all you got to have. I have faith in Andrew Hanna. I have faith.
I hear you. I'm glad I like that.
You got to try.
Yeah.
All they can do is disappoint you.
Yeah. That's
so
all
I'm going to have faith.
That you're right. That's all they can do.
Yeah, I'm going to have faith in them and see how it goes. And I'm not putting money on the bet. I'm just having faith in people.
I know. There's nothing wrong with that. I like
Bethany's done a superb job.
Yeah.
I think Beeman's done a good job too. I thought until recently that Andrew was, but this letter, I don't know where it's come from. I don't know who wrote it. I don't know who authorized it. It doesn't have a signature on it. So I don't know where this is coming from.
I'm going to be finding out. I'm going to send correspondence to him and find out.
Can you get a public records on something like this?
Listen, I didn't read anything private. There's nothing in here private. So I could see them trying to say like, oh, this is this should be public document.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you want the people to abide by it, I have to know the rules.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't get me wrong, everybody. Oh, we're going to get a lecture in Ben Gale fashion Wednesday, October 8th.
Yes. Katherine, quit bringing logic into this.
Oh, we're definitely going to lecture.
I can't wait to laugh at him.
Yeah.
Right during that laugh. I want to try to get kicked out before the meeting starts.
No, you don't. You want to sit there and be polite. You want to sit there and allow them.
I'm just saying, I want to laugh like I
know, but you're going to have to just contain yourself.
Oh no, I'm going to laugh. If he lectures the audience, I will have to laugh. I just cannot help it.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's coming. It will be in Ben Gale. I mean, listen, if you think he's going to go out without being a superstar.
Oh, yeah.
His ego is so grand. His self-confidence is amazing.
Yeah, what are they going to do now that they're nothing anymore? Well, now that you're just back to regular old nobodies.
Well, they believe they're still going to pull the strings. I mean, it's so delusional in this county that they think Russ Willis is going to remain in power. I mean, that's how crazy this is. I mean, let me tell you the craziness. The craziness is people want to keep driving by my mom's house, and your plates there's cameras everywhere. So remember a couple months ago, we were talking about plate 48R2.
Yeah.
Well, I found it tonight.
Okay, that's weird.
And it's a Cadillac.
Okay, that's
and it belongs to none else, Kelly Hewer.
What? Kelly Hewer?
And you know what's even more funny? Her boyfriend, or whatever this sick relationship is, Russ Willis, is 48R1.
That's weird. What's Pete think of that?
Do people understand?
What's Pete? Pete?
I don't know. Are you picking up on what this
48R3?
means? Explain to the people what this means. 48R1, 48R2. So 48 is Madison County's or county code. So that's 48.
Yeah.
Number 1 Republican, number 2 Republican in County 48.
But people who don't know
Very
know what that was. That's what it is.
Yes, it's great humility.
No, but listen to me. These people literally got they paid for this. Is not a state or municipal plate. They went to the BMV and they were like, could I get 48R1 and 2, please? And they were like, giving it. They were given these plates. And so this man, who is a man over here, And then this woman who's like a woman over here that's like married to another man that's not this man.
But they're best friends. And they always travel together and go on cruises together and stuff.
That's weird. That's weird.
And then Kelly Hewer wants to run through this town and say, I had nothing to do with that flyer with Katherine. Are you kidding me? So fun times over here.
Why would they have cars that are alike and plates that are alike? And Pete, what's going on, bro? Like, I need to talk to you. I used to talk to Pete Hewer on. I've got like I used to talk to him frequently.
Listen, he works in Muncie. You should go have tea with him or something.
Listen to me. I would like for him to give me the tea and tell me what's up with this deal with
weird.
Russ and hey, maybe I would love to hear the female Willis or Hewer, whatever her name is. Willis Hewer, what's her name? Kelly
Hewer.
Kelly. She might be watching this. She sent me a friend request the other day, and I accepted because I was like, yes. Why would I not want us to be friends?
From the auditor's office.
Yeah, right.
I mean, my Facebook page is open, everybody.
Yeah, dude.
You don't have to be my friend.
That floors me that people don't understand that.
You know, and that's the whole thing.
Wait. Oh, yes, that's what she told me. What? Hold on. What's that mean? Oh, yes. What's what she told you? What did she tell you, Jamie?
See, Jamie used to be friends with all these people because, her ex is Steve Sumner's. So she has a lot of dirt on these people.
About that.
A lot of dirt on these people.
He's
heard a lot and seen a lot, experienced a lot, and well, hell, now
her
ex is on the run.
I worked with Pete when Kevin Smith was mayor.
Jamie used to work in the prosecutor's office too. Now you would think they'd have a little bit of a vested interest. She said, I guaranteed she's watching. Oh, I know they're all watching. I mean,
well, Kelly, I want to know what the weirdness is with you and Russ. Why do you guys have matching couple plates like that? That's weird.
And then you say you don't know what he's up to.
And why are you creeping on somebody's mom? That's weird too. Quit creeping on someone's mom.
Right.
That's weird.
That's what I mean. I mean, the neighbors are like, this this car is taking pictures of, and they're the ones that caught the plates and everything. So I got to go file a report.
Yeah, no. Come creep on my mom.
Yeah.
Come creep on my mom. That would be fun.
So,
well, all right, Katherine. It was fun. I thought we'd probably talk to you later in the week, but it's always good getting you out of the way early.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. This was impromptu. I know you called me about 10 after 8. So if anybody thinks this was planned, no,
it was not. It was
not planned at all.
Yeah, I got this stuff and we thought, hey, let's rock and roll. So,
and here's the thing. I gave you a lot of documents tonight, even though we weren't planning on being on the show tonight. So people need to know I've got homework all done and prepared. I'm reading, I'm researching, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you as always. And we will go from there. I'll be right with you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. Hey, while you're at it, before you leave, do this. Remember to do that. Click this thumb, click the bell. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Do all of these things. Share the show with everyone you know. I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. What is today? Tuesday? Wednesday already? I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. Board of Works tomorrow. Put down in the comments how long you think the meeting will last. Put down if you think that we will be able to watch the meeting. Let us know how long you think the meeting will last if we can watch it. Let us know how much you think that we will spend. And we will talk about that tomorrow. What else we got going on? We just got another show tomorrow at 9 p.m. You'll want to tune in and find out. We might be doing what I think we're going to do, or we might be doing something totally different depending on what happens. We live by the seat of our pants over here, folks. You guys have a good night. Have a great day tomorrow. God bless each and every one of you. Big special shout out. Thank you to our friendly friend, Katherine, for coming on the show. And all of you wonderful people in Madison County, keep doing what it is you do, I guess. And we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care. Good night. God bless. Goodbye. Bye. You know we're winning, Karen, as always. Thank you. And you, and you, and you. What live were you on, Jamie? I'll check it out. Is it on Facebook? Stumblefoot. Thunder. Oh, no.